Welcome back to Rich Words Music, where it's time for another Pod Go video, and a massive breakthrough for me. You'll have seen the title if you clicked on the video, The Best Pod Go Tones That I've Ever Heard. And it's true, and I wanted to share those with you guys today. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you'll know that I've had a Pod Go on loan from the lovely people at Line 6 Germany for the past few months. I've been trying to get the Pod Go to work for me, because I'm traditionally an analog amplifier and pedal sort of a guy. Now, when I got the Pod Go, I made some videos showing me as a beginner and doing some stuff, some experiments, trying to get it to sound as close as possible to my analog amp, my Hughes & Kettner Black Spirit 200, and my analog pedals. And I love the Pod Go. I love its versatility, its flexibility, the fact that you have your entire rig in one box, so to speak, and it's priced really well as well. It has all the effects in that you could ever need. It's an awesome, awesome piece of kit. But the one area where I've personally found that it let me down slightly is in the tonal domain. I couldn't quite get it to sound as convincing as my analog setup, at least to my ears. Now, since then, I've had a lot of feedback from you guys out there, so thank you for that, telling me that the way forward is to purchase or to get hold of some external IRs, because they say that the cab sims that come with the Line 6 Pod Go are not quite up to speed. So that's what I've done, and I invested $15 of my own money in the Britt up and running Pod Go preset pack. Now, this has really opened my eyes to what you can do tonally with the Pod Go. I should also say that I have no affiliation with Britt. I've never met him, I don't know him. I simply found out that he seemed to be one of the best at making presets for Kempers, for Line 6 Helixes and other devices, and he'd done a pack for the Pod Go, $15. I paid my money. It had IRs in it. It has 15 different presets in it, each of which comes with 4 separate snapshots within that preset. There's a bunch of different amp sounds, a bunch of different musical genres you can cover with it, and a bunch of different effects added. So what you're going to hear now is me getting to grips with the Britt up and running Pod Go pack. I'll go through as many different sounds as I can, see what you think, see how you find the tones for you. But for me, they instantly leveled me up about 10 levels in terms of my tones with the Pod Go. Let's hear those sound samples now, and I'll speak in a little bit more detail about them afterwards. So there you go, those were some of the Michael Britt up and running preset sounds that you can get for the Line 6 Pod Go, and I hope you agree with me in saying that they sound much better than any of the other Pod Go tones that I've been getting to date. I think they sound fantastic. I think they sound fatter, thicker, richer, fuller, and more convincing, more three-dimensional than any of the other Pod Go tones that I've had in the past. Now, if you've not heard me trying to tweak the Pod Go myself before, as I said before, videos up there that you can try, but for me personally, I think I've leveled up about 10 times in terms of my tonality with the Pod Go now, and I hope you guys agree. Let me know in the comments what you think about those sounds. And I also have to say that I did not tweak the Michael Britt presets hardly at all. The one thing I did was reduce the amount of reverb on some of them, but that was it. And I'll just go into a small section now where I show you the presets that I specifically used. So there are 15 different presets that come with the up and running pack, but each of those presets has 4 separate snapshots, which are basically variations on that preset with more or less gain, different effects added in, and so on. So these are some of my favorites. The first one would be 1C, which is the MB clean. That's a very good overall clean sound. As you can see, there are 4 separate snapshots within that preset for 4 different variations of the clean tone. That works fantastically with all of my guitars. It's a basic clean tone with a smidgen of reverb. You can add delays, you can add drives if you want, you can add compression. There's very many things that you can do. Now, Now I would go up to bank 2 for my crunchier sounds. So for the sounds that we've heard, I've used everything from the MB Crunch here and the MB Dumble up to 2D, which is the MB Fried Chicken, which I think is great for country chicken picking sorts of sounds, but also drive tones too. When I did the higher gain overdrive sounds, the hard rock, the punk rock and the alternative rock, I was on 2B, which is the MB Dumble sort of a sound. When I did the metal sort of sounds, I was on snapshot 4, which is the highest gain snapshot of 3C, which is the MB Plexi setting. And when I did the ambient tones, I was up in bank 4 on 4B, which is the MB Soundtracks setting, and that has loads of different delay and reverb sounds. And again, if you want to tweak them slightly, you have oh so many options. So those are some of my favorite presets. So there you go, those were the presets that I used to make these sounds, and they're all available in the up and running pack if you want to go and get that. And if you have a Pod Go and you're not really satisfied with the tones that you've been getting, then I'd thoroughly recommend this pack. I mean, for $15, it's not that much money, and you're getting really, really usable sounds. And as I said, I was using them as they came out of the box with a tiny tweak on the reverb occasionally, but they are really sort of an open book to build other great sounds off of. Now, I did a couple of metal sounds, but they weren't quite there perhaps. So of course I could add in a tube screamer type pedal to tighten them up a bit, to give them a bit more oomph, and that would totally work. There's loads of delays and reverbs and modulations and other effects in the Pod Go that you could also use to add on to those bass Michael Britt tones. So what he's doing there is giving you great building blocks to make you sound better. So yeah, thoroughly recommended from my side. There's a couple of negative points to all this, of course. The first is that yes, I have had it confirmed to me now that if you've got a Pod Go and you really want the best sounds, you need to get IRs from somewhere else. Now you may have to pay for them, there are free ones floating around on the web occasionally, but that's just something I feel like Line 6 could look at in the future. If they put a couple of really decent free IRs into it, with or without the official collaboration with companies like, for example, Celestion, that would be a really much better experience for anyone playing it. It's a lot more inspirational when your rig sounds better, and I don't think the price of adding a good IR or two is really going to add to the cost of the Pod Go, and I don't think it's going to put people off paying more money for the Helix type devices either. So in future, I'd really like to see Line 6 putting extra IRs into the Pod Go. I think that would be really, really cool. And another thing that I've learned from this exercise is that there are experts, like Michael Britt, for example, who are simply fantastic at dialing in these modelers. Now, I've spent months, as I've said, with my Pod Go trying to get it to sound good, and in 1 second, the stuff that Michael Britt had done simply sounded levels better. So it shows that there is a lot of tweaking that you can do with a modeler, and there is this option paralysis thing, and sometimes you just find yourself tweaking and tweaking and tweaking, and maybe the solution is right there. And in my case, it was simply getting these Michael Britt presets and getting these external IRs. And finally, overall, I do have to say that while these tones sound so much better than anything else I've heard from the Pod Go myself, I do have to say that I still think I slightly prefer my analog amp, my Black Spirit 200, and my good old analog pedals. Again, your mileage may vary, but in my opinion, that's where it's at right now. I'll do a comparison video with these Michael Britt presets and my analog amp in the future, but I hope that this video has been useful for you. I hope it's maybe inspired you to take your Pod Go to new places, or if you're maybe thinking about buying a Pod Go, perhaps this has inspired you to take the plunge. I mean, they're awesome devices. For less than $500, you get loads of different amps, loads of different cabs, buy IRs or get IRs to replace the cabs in there, of course, but every effect under the sun is there. There are so many different switching options. You've got an expression pedal, you can have wahs and volume pedals. Basically everything you could ever need in your rig is inside the Pod Go. So it's a fantastic acquisition, and I'm really hoping that I get to keep this one that I've had on loan for so long. But who knows? Anyway, I hope if you're still around that you enjoyed the video. Give a like to the video, subscribe to the Rich Words music channel if you would, because that really, really helps. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.